Today I'm going to build a couple Tories. They are going to be about 9 foot tall and about 13 feet wide. I'm going to make it all out of 1x material, and we're going to use steel framing inside to help it stand up. The first thing I've started with is I'm working on the very top beam, the one that has the actual arch. And so in order to figure out the arch, basically what we did is we took all of our measurements and we used this little piece of steel rod with some screws and kind of created the arch that we're happy with. And then I took a pencil and kind of just traced along the edge, and now I'm going to use my jigsaw and cut this thing out.
I decided to use a circular saw to get a cleaner cut. But you can always set up a guide for your saw if you're concerned about cutting straight. After I'm done cutting, I use a disc sander to clean out any of the bad edges. Now that I have the top edge cut, I use a speed square to find my bottom edge. It's a nice way to make sure that the curves match. Okay, so I'm at the center point. I've just cut the first piece, and I wanted to give this thing a 3-inch drape. So that's what we started with. And so I just went down 3 inches at my center and then started from there, and then we just kind of worked our way out creating the curve. Now since I've got this first piece all cut, I'm actually using it as a template to cut my other 3 pieces, because we're making 2 of these and there's 1 for each side. Alright, so I got the tops and the bottoms of these 4 pieces all cut up, and you can see I put them all together, screwed them all temporarily together, and I was able to get all my leg markings and any of the other measurements and stuff. I just used my square and made it all match along all of them. So now I'll be able to separate them all, and should be able to just put them together, you know, using all those marks so they'll all be the same. So now I got to work on the lower section of this thing. Alright, so what I've done now is I've taken one of my curved pieces and I set it over a brand new 1x10. And I've got my my angles all figured out before I cut, and this is just something I came up with design wise, so it just doesn't have to be a specific way, but I wanted to have 3/4 inch lip, so this is actually where I'm going to cut this piece, and then this will be the bottom section. But what I did is I drew the line where it's going to be, so when I separate it I know where to put it back. I've got my leg marks in place. So now I'm going to cut this section off and then this one off. And what it should look like when it's all done, walk down here, is this down here. I'm just using the circular saw, just a real 2 quick cuts. So I've started to assemble some of the pieces, and from this side you can kind of get an idea of what the top beam is going to look like. When I framed the inside, I made nice sleeves for the legs to slide into so they can bolt together. And there's also an opening in the center for the small decorative piece as well. Okay, so this is as far as I got today. I've got that top cap just kind of clamped into place just to kind of give me an idea how this thing's going to look. Tomorrow I got to go through and clean up some of these edges, like trim this down and sand some of the corners and Bondo all my staples and screws and stuff. But you know, I mean, it's really crude. I'm doing a super fast job. We only had 3 days to do these Tories and the welding the stands and everything, so I'm really trying to hurry and then send it over to Gina so she can primer and paint this thing. Alright guys, so I've been busy today. I got the other one all finished, and then I got the first one done. I still have to prep everything with some Bondo, but I did give it a light sand, and I think we're gonna prime them hopefully tonight. I've also finished one of the lower beams right there. You can see the 2 openings right there, one on the bottom of the upper beam and the top of the lower beam, and that's gonna be a little tiny piece I haven't made yet, but it'll just sleeve right into there. You see inside this lower beam here, I've got one side off. I'm just about ready to put it on. Before I did that though, I drilled a couple holes and put some 3/8 insert nuts. And what that's going to do is once this slides into place inside the legs, you're going to put 2 bolts through the leg and lock this into place. Once I put the cap on this, I'm going to do a light sand and then do just a little 1/8 inch round over around the edges. It kind of just speeds up the process. Alright, I just finished building and prepping these little centerpieces. Just some 1x material, and they're about 10 inches long, and they are made to go right above these lower beams, and they'll just plug right in there like that, and then this part will plug into the top one. So I'm gonna go give these to Gina. I have started prepping these things. I got Bondo all over the staple holes. I'm getting ready to sand, and they all look like this right now. I still have to make the legs, but I'm hoping to get these all finished and prepped out so that I can send them over to paint. And then I'll continue on the legs. I still have to weld everything up and drill holes in the plates. But yeah, we're flying. It's got to be done tomorrow.